Hello Stampers, my name is Linda Bedinger and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, and today I'd like to show you how I made this card. This is in my Fast and Beautiful series, and we haven't done one of these in a while, and I've been dying to use this paper. This is out of the Time for Tea bundle in the main catalog. And so I'll bring that over so I can show you what it is I'm using. Used the paper here, and here's the paper that I'm using. It's Tea Room Specialty Designer Series paper, and it is absolutely gorgeous paper. And we're going to use, I've got a piece of it here, and we're just going to cut these panels out. And I'm using So Saffron, Very Vanilla, and Coastal Cabana on this project. I'm using this Tea Room ribbon here. It comes in a combo pack with two colors, Coastal Cabana and Very Vanilla. It's got a metal edge on it and it looks to be copper. And it's just very pretty, and I thought it set this particular card off a little bit. And so from the stamp set, all I'm really using is this little flourish down here, and I've used that on the inside to decorate the inside of my card. My With Sympathy comes from my Flourishing Phrases stamp set, and it's right now my favorite With Sympathy stamp. And I happen to need another one of these, sadly. So I thought I would make this one. And of course it could say happy birthday, it could say congratulations, it could say happy anniversary, it could say anything. So what we need to make this card is we need a piece of this beautiful specialty designer series paper from the Time for Tea. Then we need a card base of Very Vanilla that I have cut at 11 inches by 4 1/4 and scored and folded at 5 1/2. Then we need a piece of So Saffron here that is 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. And then these pieces are 1 1/2 inches by 3 1/2 inches. And what I've done is I've cut them out of a piece that was 4 1/2 by 3 1/2. Then they can be each cut at 1 1/2 inch strips. Then we need 3 pieces to back these, and these need to be 3 5/8 by 1 5/8. So just an 1/8 of an inch bigger in both directions to back these pieces. Then we need a little piece of scrap of the Coastal Cabana here to back our Sympathy, and a piece of scrap to stamp our Sympathy here, and a little bit of ribbon. So this is an extremely fast and easy card. Okay, so here's all of our pieces, and let's just get started. What we're going to do first is adhere these pieces to their mats. And I'm just going to put a little bit of snail on this. So what we're going to do is just set this on here so that it has a similar border all the way around on all 3 of these pieces. And since these pieces were cut out of one longer piece, we can arrange them so that they mimic the way they laid on the original piece of paper, which I think adds a nice little touch to this. And then I think you can see that these 3 pieces were cut from the paper like this, and you just have to decide. I kind of think I like them this way. So that's the way I'm going to mount them on my card. And it's very simple. We're just going to mount these on here. And when you have 3 pieces that you're trying to set down symmetrically, what I have found is that it's best to put the 2 ends in on first, and then you can put your centerpiece right where you need it. That way you don't end up with too much on one side. And as you can see, there's just barely enough room for these on here. So what I'm going to do is worry most about the top and bottom border and just get a little sliver along the side here. Then I can fit my piece in the middle right here and have it match both ends. So I will add a little bit of snail on here. And there we go. Now I want to get, I think what I'm going to do is mat this directly to this and pick up this whole panel, because I really want that saffron to show around the edge here. So why don't we do it that way? I will put some snail on this panel and layer it on my saffron piece here to get a little bit of a border around that piece. And then we'll raise this piece up on dimensionals after we put on some ribbon here to go around this whole panel. So I have one piece of ribbon here, and I'll just snip this off, or maybe that's enough to do my bow. I'll bet it is. So we'll just take a couple of pieces. What I'm going to do is lay a little bit of snail along the edge here so I can secure the ribbon on the back of this piece. And what we need is two pieces that will go across this panel. The ribbon is little, I mean very slim, as you can see, so I thought two pieces might be the best. And maybe I will grab my silicone mat right along here. So I'll anchor one end and then pull across to get that pretty even. There we go. And then add my second piece of ribbon here. Right about there. I just want a little gap in between the two pieces here so we could tell there was two pieces on here. And then I need to make a little bow. Bows are so much fun. If you're careful with them, you can get really nice looking bows every time. I have learned a few tricks, and I'm going to do a video when I talk about using the new embossing mats and a different cutting technique, and I may throw a bow making little piece in there as well. So let me cut my tails off here and grab a glue dot. And I'm going to secure my glue dot right down here between these two panels, and I'm going to try to catch both pieces of ribbon so that the glue dot will help hold them in place, and then put my bow on top of that. So there we have it. And the bow then is not only secured here, but it's also helping hold down these two pieces of ribbon. Okay, next is our stamping, and let me bring a little piece of scratch paper in here, and we're going to stamp our With Sympathy in Coastal Cabana. So see if I can keep the ink off of my fingers. I've not been doing a very good job of that lately. And again, here we just have enough card here for our sentiment to be listed on here or stamped on here. I'm going to hold that in place for just a second. And there's my with Sympathy. And I'm just going to trim this down. See if I can do that by eye. And come straight across. And let's see how I did. That's a little crooked, but not too bad. I think that is going to be just right. Okay, so now I need to trim this piece to fit this, to mat this. And if I use my original piece as a guide, I should be able to do this pretty simply and have just the right amount of border that I need on here. There we go. So what I'm going to do is just use a little bit of snail on the back of my sentiment here and mat that with my Coastal Cabana and get that set. And then I'm just going to lay this one flat on my card because I'm going to raise this whole panel up, and that will give me some dimension. So I'm going to set this right in here. And again, this is a very fast card. So now I'm going to raise this whole panel on dimensionals. Make sure that we've got our card base here where we can, it's going to open the right way. When I was doing this earlier to get my sample prepped, I did put it on backwards. I guess we all do those things, don't we? So there we go. That's raised on there. Then I used some of the enamel dots available, the current enamel dots, and this color matched absolutely perfectly. So I just thought I would dot a few of these around the card here and just get them put in place. There we go. Now on the inside, this little flourish from the Tea Time stamp set is what I used on the inside of this card. And just a very simple little decoration for the inside of this card, as you can see. So we will stamp this little flourish here on the top and bottom of the card, just like we did here. And I think I'm going to stamp this, let's see, right here in the center. And then I think I will stamp it in the opposite direction this time on the center bottom. Then I can place my little gems here. And there we have our decoration for our stamp. And that is the project for the day. A very simple little card, and part of my Fast and Beautiful series, where we let the designer series paper do most of the heavy lifting. And this card is very fast, very simple, and yet I think very attractive. There's something about the contrast of this pretty yellow with the Coastal Cabana that's very appealing. And simple decoration on the inside and plenty of room for your sentiment. So that is it for me today. thank you so much for stopping by my YouTube channel today and visiting with me. I do so appreciate it. And the prize draw for this month is the Tropical Chic bundle. And let's see, I've got it right here so I can show it to you. It's got this wonderful stamp set that's with it. It says, "With much love and thanks, you're the greatest, thank you." And these pretty tropical leaves, and then this, which is representative of a hibiscus flower. And then these are the dies, and you can cut out, oops, one of the dies isn't in here, I was using it for something. It also cuts out a panel. This is something I was just kind of fooling around with, trying to figure out what I was doing with this, but it cuts out this panel here. Isn't that gorgeous? So this is the prize draw for the month of August. And let's see, there's some limited time offer material. I've done one video on that. I'm getting ready to do another one. It's such a beautiful set. The Blended Seasons, a stamp set and die set that cuts out stitched frames, nesting stitched frames, and that is available to customers. This is the Blended Seasons that's available for a limited time just in the month of August. And it's got these floral items on here. It's got Christmas items on here. It's got thank you. It's got fall. It's a wonderful set. And then these are the dies. There are 10 dies available, a nesting double-stitched label set here that really, the largest of which is almost the full size of a card. It's just beautiful. It's got a bow. It cuts out the little bell that's up here, and then it's got a couple of leaves, a couple of little flourishes, and the other thing that's available through the month of August are these watercolor pencils. It's 10 pencils in different colors than the watercolor pencils that are available now. It's got Balmy Blue, Cajun Craze, so really works well with the fall and the Christmas because it's got Cherry Cobbler, Coastal Cabana, Crushed Curry, Flirty Flamingo, Garden Green, Gorgeous Grape, Granny Apple Green, and Night of Navy. So for the holidays, this would be a good one, and we've been told that this may come back in a future catalog as part of a permanent collection. Not guaranteeing, but that's available. And this set is available for a bundle price, so you can get this one and save 10% if you get the 2 pieces. And then the watercolor pencils are $12.50, so it's a very good deal. So that's it for me today. If you don't already have a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, I'd love to be your demonstrator, or you could join my team. Now, the Christmas catalog is just about out. In fact, if you've ordered with me in the last year or so, you have a catalog on the way to you. It should be coming out, they usually say mid-August, so I would guess sometime maybe next week, towards the end of next week, you'll start getting your catalogs. And I'll be working out of that catalog very soon, so you can start going through. I know my wish list is a mile long. It's a beautiful catalog. There's a lot of bundles in there, and the paper, of course, is fabulous. So that's it for me today. I'll be back soon with more projects and more cards. Bye.